Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. The Knicks postgame show presented by Tri-State Audi. Visit your Tri-State area Audi dealer today. The Knicks do it again. Now they lead the Celtics 2-0 with the next two games here in New York at MSG. Oh my goodness. From our Delta MSG studios, Bill Pidto along with Hahn and Wally Szczerbiak. The Celtics guys, one field goal in the final 8:40. Wally, the Knicks close the game on a 23-6 run. Remarkable that they were able to do this again. We've talked about the fact that if they just hang in there, they can often pull it out, and we've now seen it in two straight games.
Celtics are not handling pressure situations at all.
Not at all.
When the heat gets ratcheted up and turned up, they just fall apart. They miss wide open shots. They don't move the ball and get good looks. They ran an outstanding play for Jason Tatum to get that full court dunk on the pick and roll. That was well executed. But other than that, the Knicks organization and the way Tom Thibodeau has these guys ready to get good shots and have a plan in the last 5 minutes during the clutch time, that is why this series is 2-0. The way they execute in crunch time, it is night and day compared to the Boston Celtics.
Josh Hart said after game one, Mikal Bridges is a winning player who makes winning plays. He had 0 points, did not make a field goal until the fourth quarter. And then in the fourth quarter, he helped turn the game around. The Knick offense got going because he got going. And then, of course, at the end, that's now back-to-back games where he makes the big defensive play at the end to lock it down. And don't look now. The Knicks are up 2-0 in this series, and they're now going home.
Yep.
They have the next two games in the world's most famous arena. This is set up. No one would have expected this.
No.
But it is set up now perfectly for the Knicks to step on the throats of this defending champion.
Very similar to game one. The Knicks down by 20 in the third quarter.
Yep.
This time they're down by 20 with about 3 minutes
Wouldn't
to go.
let go.
Even worse than the situation was in game one. And then they start to work it back. They're down 14, Wally, with 4:25 to go. They're down 10 with 5:05 to go. The Celtics are the defending champs. It's worth repeating. They had one field goal made in the final 8:40 of that game.
Yeah. They're showing they don't like to play in close games. They're showing they do not.
What are the Knicks doing? It's something the Knicks are doing, too, that's impacting this. Correct?
They're just hanging around to the point where they're right there. And then come the last 5 minutes of the game, it's a totally different mentality, the way you play it. You walk the ball up the floor. You execute a certain way. Defensively, you can kind of get away with a little bit more. You play a little bit more aggressively. You're not worried about fouling out. And the Knicks, when they get the Celtics in those moments, the Celtics are not comfortable. They have not been in tough games like the Knicks have. The Knicks are experienced with the first round.
The way they champs, so Wally.
But they ran through the playoffs last year. They weren't even like challenged. They weren't even tested. So the Knicks were tested in the first series, and now when the Celtics are up against it, Jalen Brunson's just taken over.
Alan, your thoughts?
I want to see the fourth quarter over again because it happened so fast that this is something we need to.
Deep in thought.
We need to relive this. But here's the guy that got it going. It was Mikal Bridges, as I mentioned.
That's the one they called a 2 and then made it a 3.
That extra point, by the way, that really mattered, didn't it? Mm-hmm. And then Jalen Brunson starts to get going. He also really wasn't
wide open look, by the way.
He ended up, that's wide open when they're outside of 4 feet, right, defensively. Mm-hmm. Josh Hart had himself a terrific game throughout. He actually was a guy that was getting some offense going. But while you said it, it's the Knicks in these situations, once they smell blood.
Yeah.
That was such a tough shot.
Yeah, but
that gave them their first lead. That gave them their first lead of the game with 2 minutes to go. This
Celtics take the lead back.
Went right after them. And now here, this is a foul right here.
All defensive player committing that foul on an 85% free throw shooter, he knows
free throws,
that's a terrible foul.
And now here's Tatum trying to win the game. And,
how about Bridges coming off his man, Wally and Allen, to make that play, right?
Time score situation.
Yep.
You know he can't pass it now. There's too much time off the clock.
By the way, the Celtics broke a record for a 2-game playoff.
They've missed 75 threes in 2 games.
There you go. Keep shooting them, boys.
No team has ever missed
Live by the 3, die by the 3.
2 straight NBA playoff games ever. 10 for 40. Remember, they're the best three-point shooting team in the league.
Yes. Well, they took the most.
Took the most.
They had a 40-point second half. Like they did not. I'm telling you, there's too much about this game to even talk about.
Jason Tatum, by the way, looks lost.
He looks lost. He looks hurt. His
think
wrist
that- you
is
think that
not
wrist
right.
is off?
I saw him take a fall in the fourth quarter, and he is like very scared to even put his hand on the ground. You can tell the way he's releasing the ball. It's not a clean release. And one thing about the Celtics, when you dive down into their roster, they don't really have a pure point guard. Like a guy that at the end of the game, like they trust Tatum
Well,
to
it's
do
Derek
it
White.
sometimes.
Holiday's
He's not
not
a
it.
point guard.
Holiday's
He's
not
not
it.
like a pick and roll creating
Yeah.
point guard when you think about it. Tatum's their best decision maker in the pick and roll to close games, but he's not a Jalen Brunson. He is not a closer like a Jalen Brunson or some other guys in the NBA like a Luka Doncic who can just get you a good quality shot no matter what every single time down the floor. You need that in crunch time. You need your shooters to space the floor, your bigs to be going for rebounds, and you need your point guard to just control the situation and get you good quality possessions.
I got to tell you just quickly, Jaylen Brown looked like he was on a mission to start this game.
Yeah.
He ended up with 20 points, but he was 8 of 23, 2 of 7. He had 6 turnovers. And it's almost like playing into your hands when you let him go one-on-one.
No question.
Because he doesn't handle the ball well. Tatum had another nightmare shooting night. So their two big-time guys are not coming through right now. And that left the door open just enough for the Knicks to, for a second game, kick it down, walk through it, and now head home up 2-0.
I can't believe Porzingis is not in the game at the end of the games. It doesn't make sense.
Just under
better
14.
tonight.
Al Horford is great defensively. He's 35 plus years old. He's a great veteran. But what Porzingis brings is that element that the Knicks there's got to be something going on with him. The fact that he is not on the floor at the end of games, because he scares me when he's out there compared to when Al Horford's out there getting those open threes.
Knicks 91 points is a season low, 13 first quarter points a season low, 61 points through 3 quarters a season low, and yet they won.
Defense.
And Wally and Allen, similar to game one, is Mikal Bridges with the game on the line making the play on defense.
Yeah,
Going back to game one, and then we'll watch what happened again tonight.
This is why the Knicks were constructed the way they were, to stop these two wings. Jaylen Brown, look at that. Give me that. Get out of here. This is my home court tonight. I'll take this victory game one, and then backing it up in game two. Mitchell Robinson moving his feet, OG coming over to help. Like, that is just brilliant defense. Length wins in the NBA. You have Mitchell Robinson long, Mikal Bridges long, OG Anunoby suffocate right there, Jason Tatum at the end of the game. That is why this roster was constructed the way it was. You need length on the wings to shut down great players. And the Knicks have it, and they're doing it, and they're taking a 2-0 lead back home. Now, let me caution you. This Boston team,
They went on the road.
they're the best road team ever, with the way they played in the regular season. They are not going to be scared coming into MSG. This series is a long way from over. The Knicks have to continue to play underdog, use that as fuel, and they have to go into this next game knowing that they are not expected to win by most people.
And by the way,
Let that fuel them.
yes, and again, you could watch this Knick game, and you love the ending. But you watch this game and you say they could play a lot better.
No question.
Like, it is a
No
second
question.
game now. You've said they're offensively, they could play a
No
lot
question.
better. And so for them to look at film and to say to themselves now with, by the way, 2 days off, they can reset and realize some of the things that they can do better offensively. But defensively, it's like they kind of know at some point what they're doing with Boston. And if Boston, like you said, is having some issues with some of the nagging injuries that they're dealing with, you don't apologize.
No.
You got throttled down right now on this team, and
Knicks are dealing with it. Jalen Brunson's right ankle's dealing with it.
When you build a team with winners, you get to a point where all you say is don't keep it close, because if you keep it close with us, we got closers, and that's how they feel. They have a closer in offense, and Mikal Bridges is showing you they got a closer on defense too.
Home court advantage, rip up the paper. 6 straight road
In
wins.
the whole playoffs.
Right. 6 straight road wins in the second round of these playoffs.
Knicks are now 5-0
On the road.
in the
Five
playoffs.
straight?
I don't
Five straight?
I don't believe
I
they've
can't
ever
tell
done
you
that.
how hard that is to do. It's
And every win is by
incredibly
1
difficult
point. Every
to
win.
win on the road, period.
Yeah.
Let alone in the NBA playoffs. What they are doing and how connected this team is and how well coached this team is to pull that off in the Boston Garden. It's
Stay
impossible
strong,
to win
down
there
20,
in the playoffs.
Not to melt down.
Tom Thibodeau has these guys so well prepared. It's showing. That's how you get a 2-0 lead on the road against the Celtics.
2 wins away from the conference finals.
Yep.
Against the defending champs.
Yep.
No less.
Don't forget that graphic we
No.
showed. Don't forget that graphic.
Don't hex it, Hahn.
Pre-game.
graphic.
show what? No.
Don't hex it, Hahn.
We got to pay it off here.
Pay it
no defending champ has gotten out of the second round of the playoffs
Oh,
since
boy.
2019.
I'm just
Oh,
saying.
you said it.
I'm just saying.
All
No,
right.
we had the graphic pregame.
Fine.
You know?
I don't.
Monica McNutt's going to join us.
Don't touch.
Another exciting game, we're certain, on the radio. And Tom Thibodeau's crew is now up 2-0. They go 2-0 in Boston.
The Knicks postgame show is presented by Audi. Visit your Tri-State Audi dealer today.
Knicks fans taking over TD Garden. Knicks with another dramatic win. Now up 2-0, beating Boston 91-90. All right, games 3 and 4 here in New York, beginning with game 3 on Saturday. Note the start time, 3 o'clock. Pre-game, 2:30, hour-long post-game show after game number 3. Monica McNutt trying to sort out the box score in Boston. Helped call the game on the radio on ESPN New York. Monica, you got it all straight or what?
I got it all straight, and I just want to confirm for all the folks that were just talking about the Celtics, again, 25% from 3, maybe, just maybe, have a little bit of a conversation about the Knicks defense.
Monica, like, what was going on in that building? Because the Celtics completely just shut down in the fourth quarter, and they just melted down. I mean, there's no other way to put it. Their offense couldn't get anything done. What was the vibe? What were the fans doing? What were the players doing? What was their body language saying in that building?
So, Wally, interesting, with about 4 minutes to go in the third, I think the lead was still teetering around 14. Tyler, my terrific radio partner, Tyler Murray, actually called out the nervous energy of the fans in this building. You could feel it. You could feel it. And I think the Knicks continuing to stay attached, and then you get the fourth quarter performance that you got from Mikal Bridges. The Celtics players, to me, the only word I can come up with, y'all, is arrogance. They continue to go to those threes as if they are just going to fall inevitably, right? I think the only play down the stretch where you saw them not go to a three was when Jason Tatum took the lead on that dunk, right? But it was two things. It was an arrogance as a collective, but then I also think they were a little bit disjointed and had "I'm gonna take over" syndrome. And ultimately, particularly, I think it was 3 out of 4 possessions down the stretch, the Knicks defense is able to collapse and come up with big-time rebounds. I just give the Knicks so much credit, y'all. Like, I give the Knicks so much credit.
They did, yeah, it's like not letting go. A true veteran team, a true gritty team that in a playoff game on the road down 20 late in the third quarter, a lot of times you're untying the shoelaces, but this team doesn't do that. You mentioned Mikal Bridges, Monica. Josh Hart said after game 1, he's a winning player who makes winning plays. He didn't have a basket until the fourth quarter, but he seemed to really be a big part of turning the game around with his offense. And then, of course, another late defensive play from Mikal Bridges. What did you see in him in that fourth quarter?
I'm just seeing focus from him. And the fourth quarter, obviously, he begins to get to his mid-range, particularly while Jalen Brunson is on the floor, on the bench, getting his routine rest as far as his rotation. But I think, Hahn, just to look at his scoring in the fourth quarter is to do a disservice to the way that he's actually playing right now. Jason Tatum is averaging 31 points, y'all. He got nowhere close to that. He had 13 points in his ball game. And that is a byproduct of Mikal Bridges and OG Anunoby's attention to detail on the defensive end and their commitment to being physical with this team that has been an offensive juggernaut all season. Now, yes, the fourth quarter was obviously huge, but again, I continue to say that since game 3 in the last series, this version of Mikal Bridges is the one that you brought to this organization. And I would just add to that, you guys, I know that this was years ago when those guys were at Villanova, but when you talk about guys that win, to your point about what Josh Hart said about Mikal Bridges, there is a grittiness and a toughness, and you know my key today was composure. There was a composure that I felt like the players played with, and even Tibbs coached with, that was big time tonight.
All right, Monica, see you on Saturday. Got enough energy maybe to walk back?
Oh, my. Pidto, spell composure this time, Pidto. We got to go back to your spelling quiz.
No
spelling tonight.
No, definitely
no spelling. Guys, the Knicks are the first time in the play-by-play era, that dates back to 96-97, to win 2 straight playoff games when trailing by at least 20 points in each of the 2 games. Tom Thibodeau, his post-game comments, presented by Chase.
Coach, what can you say about your team? Back-to-back games, 20-point deficits, coming away with 2 victories.
Yeah, and that's the playoffs. You got to keep fighting. Every possession matters, and you got to play all 48 minutes. And so we started slowly, got in a big hole, dug our way out. And then guys made a lot of tough plays. They were at their best when their best was needed down the stretch.
Coach, as far as I know, this is the first time in the NBA playoff history all the road teams won game one, and the second game you won. There is no more home court advantage in NBA?
It seems like it's changing, so I think just the way the game goes now, you can make up ground, I think, a lot quicker, with the way teams shoot threes. And I know, like, for the writers who are around us, they always think every lead is safe, but it's not. And so everything does matter.
Tom, on that last play, just, I guess, walk us through a little bit. It looked like Mitch and OG basically forced him to the left, and what you saw from there.
Yeah, and I thought there was good team defense on that. There was a swarm, and Tatum is so tough when he gets any speed and he's going downhill. So you need bodies in front of him, and then the pursuit from behind is also important. But I thought in the fourth quarter our defense was outstanding, and that's what we need to do for the entire game. Now we're still really concerned about the rebounding. We have to fix that.
Obviously, you don't want to get in the habit of 20-point comebacks. But what does that say about the character of this team?
Well, always have the belief, I think, in each other. I think you get to the playoffs, it's about really your mental toughness, your defense, and your teamwork, and always having the belief that you could do something better and you could find a way to win, right? So it's a long game, keep playing, and that's what they did. And this team has been that way all season long. We dealt with, Mitch being out more than the first half of the season. Then Jalen took the injury in March, and they kept marching forward, and I think that's important for us. Thought Mitch gave us a huge lift off the bench. Cat was, huge, had the big putback. I think Mikal, the way he scored in the fourth was huge for us. It gave us a lot of confidence. And then, Jalen, that's Jalen. It doesn't matter what's going on in the game. He's going to be at his best when his best is needed. And timely plays, but there was a lot of hustle plays in there as well.
As it pertains to Mikal, you always talk about he's one of those guys that puts in the work. And this is the second game in a row he's come up big in the fourth quarter. What have you learned about him? What does it say about his makeup for him to keep shooting and keep going after those first two quarters?
I think one of the things I really respect about him is his demeanor. He just keeps marching forward, and he doesn't get too high, doesn't get too low, but he's a great competitor. And so just find ways to help us win. And if your shot's not dropping, play great defense, move without the ball, push the ball up the floor. I thought we got some fast break baskets in the second half. I thought that helped us a lot as well.
Hey, Tom, when you guys are down 20, Miles comes in, and how much of a spark do you think that was?
Yeah, I think he and Mitch, because we were flat, and I think they came in and they provided a spark and got us going. We got some stops, and we got into the open floor. A couple shots went down, right, and then everyone started feeling a lot better. And then once we got it inside 10, we always have the belief that, we can win.
Tom, with Mitch, he's been on a lot of these switches during these first two games, and he seems to have really held his own in most of those situations. When did you feel like he was really somebody who you trusted guarding perimeter players out there?
About 4 years ago.
It was there because early in his career he hung around
the first thing, he's got great feet and anticipation. So I think the challenge was when we first got here was he's really got it's not only his defense, but he's very disciplined. And I think that was probably the piece, like for most young players. Once he got to know the players better, and then learning how to become the second jumper, I think all those things helped eliminate, the reckless fouls. And he's a huge factor. He's a hard guy to score over. So even if you score over him, it's going to be a tough shot. And so I think he's learned that. He doesn't whack down anymore. Those cheap fouls are gone.
Tom, when you think about the clutch, a lot of people consider that offensive, but now this is the second time that McHale's come up big, the game on the line on defense.
Yeah.
Is clutch defense a thing?
Yeah, like people always talk about offensive runs. I think you go on defensive runs as well. You also go on rebounding runs. You'll see guys, all of a sudden, they have, like Josh is a prime example. All of a sudden, he has 2 or 3 rebounds, and then he'll get like 4 or 5 in a row. So it's like making shots. And so I think whatever it takes for us to win, like Carl had the big and one, like McHale with timely baskets, Jalen with timely baskets, Josh with his hustle, Mitch all over the floor, switching, guarding, great impact. But that's a team working together.
It was no secret that you guys got OG and McHale, but not for Boston, but with Boston in mind. And the whole, Tatum and Brown for what they did tonight, they did in the first 2 games. Is that kind of what you envisioned?
Well, not necessarily. I think a premium has been put on long wings in the league, and versatility. So guys who can guard 2, 3, 4, and even point guards as well. So we got them because we felt they were good players and they could make us better. And I think the length at that position, at the wing position, is huge because you're asking guys, particularly with 5 out, to get in, protect the paint, but also to get out and cover the line. And then when the ball gets shot, to also rebound. So I think the length is very important. And, and just having the versatility to play 2, 3, and 4, what it also allows you to do is do a lot more switching.
All right, a couple more.
Coach, how critical is Hart's offense, given that they're helping a lot off of him digging, and how critical is it for him to just make shots and make plays and when the time comes?
Yeah, and I think you saw like a variety of, the way he scored, like the transition and the pace are like his strengths. And then he's real clever. He plays a lot bigger than his size. So the rebounding, but also the finishing ability inside. But then he's worked a lot on his shooting. If you leave him open, he's not hesitating, just let it fly. But I think that's huge for us. And particularly if you're going to overcommit, right, we got to trust the pass, trust each other, trust your teammates, and you're going to have an advantage on the backside. Anytime you put 2 on the ball, there's advantages in other areas. And so same thing, Carl gets double teamed all the time, Jalen gets double teamed all the time. So just trust each other, make the right play, and usually the second pass against the blitz or the double team in the post is going to get you a high quality shot. I am. No, that's the beauty of the playoffs, and it really, you can't get wrapped up in the emotions of it. I think it's important, you look forward to the next game, but to understand, okay, it's a series, but you have to focus on the game that you're playing. What is it going to take to win that game? So we know each game, right? There's going to be more force and more aggression in it, and we have to be ready for that. And so all we have to do is make sure that we're focusing on what it's going to take to win Game 3.
Coach, the Celtics took 20 fewer three-point attempts but shot the same percentage, 25%. I know it was a concern about how many shots the three-pointers the Celtics get up. Like, how impressed were you, and what was that a key to allowing you guys to come back and win, holding them to that percentage, even though they took?
Yeah, and again, it's hard to say. Like, I want to look at the film to look at the quality of their shots. They have a style of play. I think they do a terrific job. They're strong on both sides of the ball. So we know we have to play for 48 minutes against them. And if you give them open shots, they're going to make them. If you give them a second crack at it, they're going to make you pay. And it's not just, it's their transition also. And then what they do on the offensive board to get the kickouts and a second and third look at it, they're very quick to the ball. So we have to make sure that we're putting bodies on them. Yep.
Coming up, we'll hear from the other coach. Joe Mazzulla's team led until 1:59 left in the game. They led the entire way until the final 2 minutes and lost. His comments coming up. Another heart-stopping win for the Knicks, 91-90 tonight, setting up Game 3 back here in New York. Pre-game at 3, and after the game, an hour-long post-game, and we touched on this. The Knicks, the first NBA team in the play-by-play era that dates back to 96-97 to come back in back-to-back playoff games when trailing by at least 20 points in the second half. In both cases, it was in the third quarter. Joe Mazzulla, losing coach, what do you have?
Joe, what happened there in the last 5 minutes? It just seemed like you guys couldn't score, and they just made every play.
Yeah, they made every play, and like I said, even throughout the end of the fourth quarter, I thought we generated some good looks, and then I thought we had some live ball turnovers, and they took advantage of it. So they made the necessary plays to win. We put ourselves in position to do that, and we just didn't make the plays.
You guys, two days off. How do you respond from this? This is just another blown 20-point lead. Exactly your worst nightmare. How do you come back from this?
You just take a look at it, figure out where you have to be better, and put a full 48 minutes together. So I have an understanding that it's going to be difficult, but that's why we do what we do, and figure out where we have to get better and do that.
Joe, what was the thought process with not calling timeout there with 12 seconds left?
Had one left, got a good look on the exact same play 20 seconds earlier, tried to execute the exact same thing. They did a better job of their lower pickup point, and we weren't able to get the advantage that we had on the last Tatum dunk. So good full court setting. They subbed out Towns, weren't able to sub out Brunson, had action there, and just didn't execute.
And then but how much is the time consideration a factor there with folks like giving yourself a couple cracks at it? If you advance the ball there potentially.
Yeah, absolutely. So you don't know that at the point of JT was driving left. Thought he had a good look, saw it at an angle, didn't shoot it, and ran out of time.
Joe, just from an emotional standpoint, just how stunning is this for your team? You've come back from a lot of different things over the course of the past couple of years, but kind of where's your mindset at right now after certainly a stunning one?
Figure out where we have to be better, watch film tomorrow as a team, and move on to the next game.
Joe, you stay even keeled after losses. Like, it's just on to the next, but at the same time, like, no one likes losing. Is there any part of it that, like, can use that frustration or the anger after a loss to, like, go into the preparation of the next game, or is it a completely, like, clean slate after a game like this?
You're down 2-0 heading on the road, so, you have an understanding of your environment, what you're up against. There's also, obviously, a lot of things that we're doing well, but then there's things that we need to be extremely better at in those situations. So, obviously you have an understanding of the environment. You're down 0-2, so we got to get on the road and we got to find a way to win.
So they didn't call timeout for this possession, and Mikal Bridges came up big for the second straight game. The guys will break down that final sequence from the Wally Wall coming up. The Knicks beat the Celtics. They closed the game on a 23-6 run. At one point down the stretch, Boston missed 14 shots in a row. So the Knicks are up 2-0, setting the stage for Game 3 Saturday afternoon. Pre-game at 3, hour-long post-game after game number 3. Over now to the Wally Wall with Allen and Wally, guys.
Thank you, Bill. So, fourth quarter, we're like, all right, what plays are we going to do for the Wally Wall? And we couldn't figure out too many, and then all of a sudden, a whole lot of plays happened. So we've got a bunch for you right now. Mikal Bridges' turning point, obviously, he got hot early in that fourth quarter, and we're going to show you a big three-pointer that really started to let you know things are turning, and it came off some good defense.
Yeah, part of the 14 straight missed shots by the Celtics. Outstanding Knicks defense. Here they end up switching this screen, and Karl-Anthony Towns up top, frees it there. Now, Karl-Anthony Towns, he can handle Al Horford any day of the week. Moves his feet, he's bigger, he's got good size, bothers him. You can stay home on the shooters here when you know that you have Karl-Anthony Towns guarding Al Horford, because this is a matchup he can handle, no problem. Does a good job not committing a foul. Horford gets low post position, but he just doesn't have the capability of finishing that anymore. Really good job of gang rebounding. When you get that long rebound, look to push it right down the Celtics' throat, because they had a lot of guys underneath trying to space the floor and go for rebounds. Look at Mikal Bridges running to that three-point line. Josh Hart running the left wing, could have had a layup there. Take the three-point one. This is the one that was called a 2.
Yes.
Yep, it was called a 2 in regulation. Thank goodness for instant replay to look that up and make sure that was a 3, because that cut the lead to 7. And that's when the choke job started to creep into the Celtics' minds. That's the only explanation for what happened. 14 straight shots in the fourth quarter. They got some wide open looks. I know there were threes, but at the same time, those are shots that they'll take any day of the week. They just completely melted down in the last 5 minutes in crunch time.
It is amazing to think that now you review shots to make sure it's a 3 or a 2. That 1 point obviously factored in huge at the end of this game. Josh Hart factored in huge in this entire game. A lot of it was offense, but what you notice from the Celtics is they hustle around, they get long rebounds, and they get extra shots for three-pointers. Well, two can play at that game, as Josh Hart shows here with his effort.
Outstanding effort, and just look at how good the execution is by the Knicks. Freeze it there. Good screen. Okay, Jaylen Brown fights over. They double team Jalen Brunson. Fine, that's what they want. Possible roll to the basket here by Josh Hart. Look, 12 seconds on the shot clock. One screen, one side of the floor. Okay, nothing there. You're going to make them pick the ball up, get it to Bridges. Come set another screen. Tough to defend. Defense is moving. Eyes are moving. Bodies are moving. Screen by Josh Hart. He's a really good screener. He sets a good one there. Gets Mikal Bridges a wide open look at the three-point line. Look at that shot. That's a great look. You got two guys right there. Horford's trying to contest. Bridges gets it up. Freeze it there. There goes Josh Hart. Gets that loose rebound. That was in and out, too. That was a really good look. That could have gone down. So now Celtics are completely in scramble mode. Josh Hart quicker to the loose ball. Jalen Brunson moving to the corner. Taste of Celtics own medicine. Yep. They get the offensive rebound. They run right to the three-point line. That's a license to just shoot. Extra possession. Extra, you found money on the ground. You pick it up. You take those 3 points, those $3, and you beat the Celtics down the stretch. Complete, total meltdown by the C's. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, there's that phrase, the ball finds energy, and that's exactly what Josh Hart was on that play. All right, let's get to it. Another defensive stop to end the game by Mikal Bridges, but it wasn't just him. Watch Mitchell Robinson, watch OG Anunoby. There's a lot going on in this final play.
Yeah, and it is really good defense, and this is what Mitchell Robinson brings. Anunoby is fine with saying, switch this screen. Al Horford's trying to set this big screen. You got Anunoby and Mitch here. Whichever way he goes, if he goes that way, Anunoby takes him. If he goes this way, Mitch takes him, and the Knicks are completely fine with the outcome. There's 8 seconds left.
Make him go left.
Yep,
and that's
Mitchell
what Mitch
Robinson
does.
Takes him. Al Horford's like, okay, I got to get my guy out of here. I got to let Tatum go one-on-one. Look at Mitch move his feet. Now, freeze it here. Now, the awareness by the Knicks is what's so impressive. They know in their heads what the clock is. 5 seconds. So they think, okay, Mitch is in good position, but maybe he's beat. Now I got to go help. And look at Bridges. He's like, even if I go help now, there's no way they can get a pass in time over to Jaylen Brown to get a good look. This is just great awareness by this team. And the long arm of the law, Mikal Bridges, comes out and gets that steal, and it is pandemonium for the Knicks. To get 2 wins on the road in the playoffs, just really impressive stuff. They got a lot of help by the Celtics. Yes, their execution down the stretch, there's only one explanation. They just melted down. That's all it was.
Yeah.
They got some good looks, but to give up that kind of lead and to miss 14 straight shots with that roster and those players, I don't blame the coach. I blame those players. Those players have to learn how to execute in crunch time better. That was a complete choke job.
Well, the coach did leave a timeout in his pocket. They decided to just take it up the floor, not call a timeout.
You got to trust your players.
Play.
Jason Tatum went down the floor, I think, the play before.
Yeah.
You can't blame him for not stopping the action and making them restart. They couldn't get anything going. You got to trust Jason Tatum. With Mitchell Robinson, a switch on him, you'll take that any day of the week. You got to trust Tatum to make a better play.
All right, well, in 2 plays, Mikal Bridges makes the defensive stop at the very end of the game. And now the Knicks take a 2-0 series lead back to Madison Square Garden. Bill.
Bridges, all 14 of his points in that fourth quarter. Cat tonight, 21-17. We'll get his post-game comments coming up as the Knicks win it tonight by 1. Next up, Game 3 Saturday. Game's at 3:30, so our pregame is here at 3. And then after the game, as will be the case throughout the rest of the series, we have an hour-long post-game show after game number 3. The Knicks guys have now won 5 straight road playoff games. First time in franchise history. And in these 5 straight playoff road wins, they've outscored the opposition by 9 total points. 9 total points to win 5 straight road playoff games.
Nail biters.
Yeah.
That's how it's supposed to be on the road, right? Like,
I guess so.
Just hang around and then take it at the end.
Here's Cat. Big game for him tonight.
I mean, we always have confidence in our team, so, unfortunately, again, we put ourselves in a position, but, I think if we've shown anything to the NBA and to the fans, that we're a gritty team, and we're just going to keep fighting to the last one.
How would you describe these 2 ball games, these 2 wins in Boston?
Just you're playing the best, you understand that things may not go your way, but you just got to, stick together. I think we're seeing the continuity this team has and the belief we have in each other. And when when we needed to show it the most, and these last 2 games, we've done it.
What's going through your mind when you see McHale get a steal to ice it for the second night in a row?
I mean, that's what he does. That's what he does. We got the clutch player of the year in the NBA, and we possibly got one of the most clutchest defenders in the NBA as well. So it's only right that, for all the talk people have done about McHale, it's when the lights were the brightest that he gets to show his worth.
You think you guys maybe need to just spot them 20 points at the beginning of every game?
No, don't start that. No. We got to obviously play better. I talked about before the game we had to execute at a higher level. We did our best. We didn't, obviously do as well as we wanted to, but, this team, man, it's just so special. The guys in here, we stay connected even through the bad. And, we just find a way. So shout out to them, but playing a really, really good team, you got to, we can't keep spotting 20-point leads and expect to come out with a win.
Kat, what can you say about the defense tonight, especially in the fourth quarter, only allowing a high-powered Celtic team only 17 points?
I mean, it's a testament to these guys, the resiliency of these guys and the belief that no matter how the game's going, we could find a way. So we've shown it in the Detroit series. We're doing it again here, but it's just these guys, man. This locker room is full of guys who believe in each other.
What does it mean going back to the Garden up 2-zip?
It means we up 2-zip. I mean, but it doesn't really mean anything. If anything, it's taught me experience from last year. We were up 2-0 the same way in both away games in Denver, and we came home and we left our home 2 games 2-2. So we can't take anything for granted. We got to find ourselves executing at a higher level. We can't keep doing these 20-point leads for Boston and hope to come back and win the game. We gotta play better. We gotta shoot better. We gotta execute better. We can't start having that kind of Knicks basketball being played down 20. We gotta start from start the game that way and finish the game that way. 48 minutes.
Cat had a key second quarter, 10 of his points in that second quarter, and if he's not doing that, Allen, the 9-point deficit at half would have been a whole lot worse.
And you saw late in the game, we were showing it just on the Wally wall, some of the effort on the boards and defense had to do with Mitchell Robinson and Towns playing together. That added size out there almost forced Joe Mazzulla to play big as well. He was trying with Porzingis, couldn't get a lot of minutes out of him. He had Cornette out there at times, also with Al Horford. The size factor is also something to consider. It's twice now in the second half where the Knicks dominated defensively because they had 2 bigs on the floor.
Yeah, the manipulation of matchups and just the coaching job that was done by Tom Thibodeau.
Yep.
And then Karl Anthony Towns responding and answering the bell. Offensively, we know how good he is. He's outstanding. Defensively, as big as he is, it's tough for him to move his feet in the pick and roll. He can guard guys when he keeps them under control and in front of him. He's a very good defender, but it's all about not asking him to guard Jason Tatum on an island 30 feet from the basket. That's impossible for him to do, and I think Tom Thibodeau, as this series goes along, he's figuring out how he can be a capable, good defender and help the team, especially down the stretch.
So Mikal Bridges, 14 points, all in the fourth quarter, and the defensive stop of the game on the line with a second straight contest. The Knicks' reaction to Bridges shutting down Tatum and clinching the Knicks' second win. We're going to hear from Bridges coming up.
The Knicks postgame show is presented by Audi. Visit your Tri-State Audi dealer today.
So 2 road wins for the Knicks in this series. They're up 2 games to none. Mikal Bridges, all 14 of his points tonight in the fourth quarter. In the 2 games so far in this series, he scored 5 points in quarters 1 through 3 and 17 points in the fourth quarter and counting the OT in game 1. Also huge, of course, on defense. Here now is Bridges after the game.
Mikal, can you describe that last defensive stop against Tatum?
Just a hell of a job with Mitch and OG, guarding pick and roll, and Mitch running him off the line, playing good defense, and then OG even helping him out. And then just trying to react and, saw OG make him take a tough step back and just try to help and try to win the game.
What was your role, though, in that last play? How special was that?
It was great, man. It's always great to get a win, especially through, the whole night and battling back. Great feeling.
Is that like a Witherspoon thing again, or what was going on? I mean, no.
Nah, I think it's just playing basketball and reading and, knowing how much time is left and, have a player like Tatum, shine in those moments and want to get to a spot. So just trying to help my team win.
Kel, what was your mindset in the fourth quarter? Because offensively, you started to take over.
Yeah, man, just everything in my teammates, man. They helped me up, throughout the whole, me missing every shot, until that point. And it's really, truly them, them just holding me together and keep me mentally right and just telling me to keep going. And I think Coach also just trusted me, coming out the forefront to play for me and just putting that confidence in me. But, man, it's really my teammates and my coaches, man. They really, they really helped me up.
Miguel, how would you describe the quality of this win tonight?
It's great, man. Just finding ways to win. That's the biggest thing. I always try to just find a way to win, and obviously we'll start better. But that's the biggest thing, is just always just trying to find a way.
Miguel, Jason Tatum is averaging 32 points at the Magic series, but at the Knicks series, he's averaging like 16. For being the primary and secondary defender, what did you do to make an MVP player off like that?
Man, it's not really me, man. It's a lot of my teammates, OG, Kat, Mitch, everybody, Josh, everybody in the matchups that's up there, and just playing team defense and just trying to help each other out.
I think you guys need to. Would your mindset be different if you weren't hearing what you were hearing from your teammates when you started?
I don't know, man. I want to say it's all my teammates. I feel like I'm pretty mentally strong, but it was wearing on me a little bit, just missing shots, and it's really just missing shots is affecting us. I'm trying to win a game, and me missing is not going to help us. So, it's hurt me that I'm making my team lose at that moment, and but man, it's really just shout out to them for real.
Bridges' first three quarters 0 for 8. Then he goes 6 for 10 in the fourth quarter. Jalen Brunson coming up big again. We'll hear from him and Josh Hart at the podium coming up. Knicks beat the Celtics by 1, now up 2-0. Let's now listen in to Josh Hart and Jalen Brunson.
Just playing through the final whistle. Can't really explain it, but we just got to give each other confidence when we go through stretches like that and just keep fighting, keep believing.
Jalen, just walk me through your mentality in these final kind of plays, the way that you had on Monday and then in these two plays in the final minute today. For you, mentally, how have you been so mentally strong and tough to be able to come through in those moments, even if you struggled in the first half of both games?
Yeah, it's a focus that I need to have at that moment. You can't really worry about what happened previously in the game. It's all about just focusing, having a clear mind, and just trying to win the game. That's just my mindset, and I wouldn't be that way without my teammates.
For both of you, Tibbs got up here and said people always like to talk about offensive runs, but there can be defensive runs and rebounding runs. And he mentioned Josh grabbing a couple boards there in a row. How important is those things when the shots aren't falling, to just do everything else and do it at a high level? And does that turn into the offense getting to where it needs to be?
Yeah, I think so. When you're not making shots, you got to find ways to impact the game in a positive way. And, that could be an offensive rebound, kick out for another opportunity, a defensive steal to get you out in transition and on the break and get an easy bucket. And those things are momentum plays. And, they really compound and they inspire your teammates. So, that's something that we all try to do. And, we know when it gets close in the end of a game, it's a one-possession game. We're very comfortable because we got Captain Clutch.
Hart had 23 to lead the Knicks. Back now from the corner of the three, presented by Michelob Ultra Superior Light Beer. Wally, you always talk about how one game has nothing to do with the next. But how about these two games for the Celtics and the impact this might have with the series coming to New York for games 3 and 4?
Listen, they're the defending champs for a reason. I wouldn't count them out. Knicks are going to have to play a little bit better basketball for 48 minutes, I think, to win this series. They got 2 games in Boston, which is huge, but this series is a long way from over. That's a good basketball team. They're going to make some adjustments, and they just choked this game away.
I think, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does.
I'm just being honest.
Listen, what the Knicks have done, though, is they have shaken the Celtics, and they have taken a stranglehold of this series. And we have seen, despite the fact they won a championship last year, 2 years ago, the Celtics did this already once before.
All right, so Knicks fans with a lot to cheer about, another heart-stopping win. We will see you on Saturday afternoon, pregame at 3, and then an hour-long postgame after game number 3. And also stream our coverage on the Gotham Sports app. Want more than just a postgame show? Link your eligible TV subscription to stream Knicks games free or subscribe today in the Gotham Sports app. Just go to gothamsports.tv to learn more.